Super Rugby Trans-Tasman final, Blues and Highlanders. Bit of a strange competition. It's only 5 rounds. You had 3 teams finishing undefeated, and it's the Blues and the Highlanders who manage to go through first and second. Crusaders miss out. The Chiefs and the Hurricanes ended up dropping games, and then the bottom of the log was the 5 Aussie teams. So yeah, the Blues are in a final at Eden Park for the first time in a very long time, and the Highlanders are likewise in a final for the first time in a long time. I feel like it's going to mean a lot to both of these teams, even if the competition, as I said, it's not the old Super Rugby proper. That ship has sailed, but I think as Blues fans, and probably Highlanders fans too, we can just enjoy the fact that we're going to be competing for a trophy. I haven't even seen the trophy yet. What does it look like? But yeah, it'd be nice to see someone lift the trophy other than the Crusaders. Sorry, Crusaders fans. You guys have had some pretty good years. Blues, as I said, 5-0. Highlanders, 5-0. Pretty solid seasons from both of them, I think you would kind of say. The Blues looked a little bit shaky on their game last week against the Force. Went out to a flying start. Struggled a wee bit in the second half. Maybe the pressure of the occasion getting to them. Whereas the Highlanders needed to get their bonus point across the ditch in Canberra. Really put the pedal to the metal. So, yeah, it's going to be a fascinating one to watch. We'll go through the lineups, the predictions, some of the stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how this one is going to pan out. Obviously, I got a ticket. First time the Blues have had a final like 18 years, so I wasn't going to miss that one for the world. Weather forecast yesterday, I haven't checked it today actually, it was looking a bit nasty, but anyway, we'll see. For the Blues, it's pretty stable. Hodgman, Eklund and Laulala is the front row. Tuipulotu and Cowley-Tuioti, that's the second row. So same type 5 that we saw last week. Akira, Ioane has to step up into the number 6 jersey because Tom Robinson is out injured, unfortunately. Papalii and Sotutu are there 7 and 8. Papalii has been really good in terms of his defensive work. Sotutu has been a big blockbusting ball carrier, which is kind of what we expect from him. And since Tuipulotu's come back from injury, they kind of eased him back into it, but he's been very good as well. Finlay, Christie, Otere Black is 9-10. That's proved to be seemingly the best combo for the Blues at this point. Faiane and Rieko Ioane are the midfield, and I've talked about it before. They kind of complement each other pretty well. Faiane being more of a defensive powerhouse guy, and Rieko having a bit more go-forward ball, a bit of extra speed that you have being a former winger. Telea, Heem, and Sullivan make out the back 3. Heem's got all kinds of good numbers in this competition. Maybe been a little bit quiet the last week or so. But Zarn Sullivan's boot at the back has also been very assured. Gets a bit of distance on it. He's pretty accurate, so he'll be the guy to get the Blues out of trouble if they need to. The bench, there is a change in that Blake Gibson has to come into the side. The Blues are pretty stacked with loosies, so that's not a bad thing to have Blake Gibson come in the side. Goodhue is there, Renata, Tuipulotu. There's no Tuanga Fussy, he's still out. And I mentioned Tom Robinson already. AJ Lamb, Plummer, Ruru, those guys make out the rest of the squad. For the Highlanders, I think it's pretty much the same side that played last week. They've still gone with the 6-2 split. Two back replacements. The rest of them are forwards. So De Groot, Dixon, and Tokolahi. And Dixon is one of the top try scorers for the Highlanders, and his line-out throwing has been phenomenally accurate. So he's going to be a big part of whatever the Highlanders get going. Putty Parkinson and Brent Evans are the second row. Putty up against Patrick is going to be a fascinating little contest in itself. Hugh Renton, Billy Harmon, and Kazuki Himeno are the 6, 7, and 8, and they all complement each other pretty well too. Harmon is the big tackling man, kind of the role that Papalii does for the Blues. Himeno is not maybe as offensively minded as Sotutu, but he's very kind of good all round. I mean, Sotutu's won himself a couple of turnovers in recent rounds, but Himeno's been doing the turnover deal since he got to New Zealand, so he's been a real find for the Highlanders. Performed really well, and good for him to get into a final, seeing as he's just got the short stint with the Highlanders. Smith and Hunt are the 19 combo. I feel like if the Highlanders are going to put the Blues under a heap of pressure, it'll all come from Smith and potentially their lineouts, because Smith, you can just feel him driving the team forward, man. He is such a key man in everything they do. They've got Hamilton on the bench, and he's no slouch, but man, Aaron Smith, He is just next level this season. Gregory and Collins is the midfield. Not real big names, but they have been really, really quite good, especially Gregory. He's been having a very solid all-round season. Never the top guy for like run meters or defenders beaten, but he's doing his job defensively, and he still managed to get over the advantage line. When he is carrying the ball, he's passing. So, yeah, he's having a pretty good all-round season. I think Nareki is kind of the other X-factor guy apart from Aaron Smith that you look at if you are looking for the guy that is getting the run meters, the defenders beaten, and the offloads. All that kind of stuff is Nareki, so he'll be a guy the Blues need to try and keep quiet. Easier said than done. Tompkinson and Josh Ioane are there as well. Coltman, Johnston, Honock, Dixon, that's Josh, Lynchus and Ben Nicholas are the loose forwards. That's Lynchus and Ben Nicholas, and Hamilton and Gilbert are your 2 back replacements. So, yeah. In terms of the head-to-head stats, the Highlanders have scored 30 tries in this competition to the Blues 26. So the Highlanders are edging that area. It's Dixon and Tompkinson who are the main guys for the Highlanders, actually. 4 tries apiece. And I mentioned that line-out. The line-out for the Highlanders is the best in the competition. 92.3%. The Blues are at 85.5, so the 6th best line-out. That's going to be a key area for the Highlanders. How many of their tries come from either a maul, that's why Dixon's the top equal try scorer, or from little set plays that end up setting up somebody else, and often Aaron Smith's in there with a bullet pass as well. Key area for the Blues. Do you set for the maul or try and disrupt their line out? Either way, it's a tough job. Clean breaks, you got 56-41 with the Blues having more. So it's like 5th against 7th. The Blues may be piercing a little bit more with ball in hand. Meters per carry. Looking at their total run meters and divided it by how many carries they've had this season. They're both good numbers above the magic 4, which is kind of what you want to get. But the Blues are at 4.7. The Highlanders are at 4.2. So it just speaks to the fact that the Blues are getting slightly more go-forward ball than the Landers when they carry. Defenders beaten is also probably a part of that. 133 in this competition for the Blues, 99 for the Highlanders. So that's 4th against 8th. So the Blues are very adept at running over guys, not just kind of setting up clean breaks and mauls and whatnot. Scrum, it's 3rd against 8th, with the Blues being 3rd. Tackling percentage, it's 1st and 2nd. The Highlanders are 1st, the Blues are 2nd. So maybe 2 teams who are quite capable of scoring points, but also quite defensively adept. That's probably the one area that let the Crusaders down, to be fair, this season. But it's been a good strength for the Blues and for the Highlanders. So 89.3 is the tackle percentage for the Highlanders, 87.3 for the Blues. So it's a fascinating mix, man. You divide the stats, it's pretty much even. The Blues are edging some, the Highlanders are edging others. Yeah, other key guys, Heem, as I mentioned, and Nareki, 11 clean breaks for Heem, 9 for Nareki. Nareki's got 22 defenders beaten though, so the Highlanders in terms of their team don't have as many as the Blues, but the individuals, Nareki is above any Blues player, so it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Heem and Nareki for the run meters, Harmon and Eklund for the tackles, so key guys kind of across the board. They have met twice this year. They met in March at Eden Park and it was 39-17. I don't remember that game, but it seems to have been relatively comfortable if it was that scoreline. And then the other fixture in April, which was down in Dunedin, 35 points to 29 to the Highlanders. So the home side has won both fixtures. Will home advantage be enough? Will Aaron Smith drive his team to success? Can Patrick Tuipulotu pick up this Blues side? Will they miss Tom Robinson? Akira is a pretty useful replacement, to be fair. So either way, man, it's going to be a good game. It's on at 7:05 Saturday night. Hopefully the weather forecast is not too bad, because ideally we'd like to have some running rugby tomorrow. It still says rain. Anyway, we will see. You guys let me know your thoughts. Who are you backing? Are you thinking the Blues at home are going to be too good, or do you see them potentially maybe cracking a little bit under the pressure like we saw a little bit last week? I also need to give credit to the Force for pushing their way back into that game last week. Or do you think the Highlanders are going to be equally as desperate to get their hands on some silverware after a pretty long absence? Not as long as the Blues. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. How do you reckon this one's going to go? Drop the video a like if you do, please. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.